My video for August 8th, 2018, which is video number 2811, is entitled, "The Internet Seems Rigged to Support Cabal Criminals." More and more, I am noticing signs that things are changing on my two primary social networks. Of course, I've been making videos every day on YouTube since January 2011, missing less than 2 weeks during my hospitalization for open heart surgery. My primary Gmail account is no longer available now since my computer was hacked and my password was changed by who knows who. Yes, the email connected to my YouTube account cannot be changed, so that one still works. As for Facebook, I have had 2 accounts, the primary one with a limitation of friends and the other used for the overflow. I never hear from most of my Facebook friends and realize that Facebook sends me people that do not even know I make daily videos. Some even make innuendos of a sexual nature. Now I screen my friend requests carefully to determine motivation. I disapprove most of them. Of course, these social media were created to spy on us, but it seems obvious there is more going on at this time. When will the swamp be drained? When will we see real change? Like many, I face questions that are not easy to answer. Yes, it's not just me, folks. In case you haven't noticed, Facebook has, not just Facebook, but Facebook and Google, which is, of course, Gmail and YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Apple, iTunes, all have banned Alex Jones. Now, I am not a fan of Alex Jones, but they're banning free speech. Whether somebody wants to rant and yell, which does not turn me on, in fact, the opposite is the case. I have listened to a lot of Alex Jones's videos over the years, and I agree with a lot of what he says. Some have suggested that he's controlled media. Perhaps I'm controlled media too in some way, but because I don't get the millions or hundreds of thousands or even millions of views that people like Alex Jones get, they don't come after me quite so much. In fact, my view count keeps diminishing. I had, the video that I made with my friend from Hawaii, Valentine, had less than 100 views. That's the only video I think in the history of my channel, except for perhaps, the very beginning when people weren't aware of my channel. But it's the lowest number of views that I've had in a long time. And I have videos that have had, even tens of thousands of views. I don't think I've had any that have reached 100,000, but I know I've had some that reached 50, 60,000 views. In any case, folks, I do think the internet, which, as I said, was set up to spy on us, is being now attacked for anybody that has a conservative viewpoint or a viewpoint that doesn't go along with the West, or I shouldn't say the West, the left media, put forth by the people that put that forth. But in addition, I still am not sure where Trump stands on this. Is he really draining the swamp? Some say he is, but he's still aligned with Israel and the Christian right. And to me, the Christian right and Israel are wrong, and they are responsible for a lot of the crimes against humanity that have gone on around the world. So it's not an easy thing to look at the thing and say, well, I know exactly what's going to happen. Now, some people say that the doom and gloom and the negative stuff is all going to be changed, and we're going to be ushered into a new world, that there's going to be peace. And of course, if there's peace, there has to be truth. You can't have peace based on lies, because it has been a very profitable game for those that push war to continue. They don't want peace. They want people to be pitted against one another. So I'm, saying that I support Alex Jones's right to speak whatever he chooses to speak, and people can choose whether or not they listen to him. And that's true of many others, David Icke and David Wilcock and many others that put out videos. I don't know how many others are being banned, but it's something that YouTube and Facebook are apparently even banning people that stand up in support of Alex Jones, which is another interesting thing. Banning people that have a conservative viewpoint and want to protect our first, second, third, our Bill of Rights. Let's just sum it all up that way. They want to support people's rights, which are not considered rights granted by a state, but are human rights that are unalienable human rights. They're something that cannot be attacked. And the right to bear arms is an unalienable right, for example. There's lots of things that the dark forces have been trying to employ and put into effect in this world that would minimize not just the human population, but minimize our right to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press. The internet is the press, and they're attacking that. They're attacking free speech. They're saying you're not allowed to do that. Now, I agree if Alex Jones was telling people to go and kill other people or to commit any crimes, well, that is a limit to free speech. You're not allowed to do that, and that makes sense. But just banning people because they have a different point of view or a different political agenda is simply wrong. And God has to bring these criminals down. Now, I know people hear me say that and they think, Ron, it's not up to God, it's up to us. Well, if it's up to us and it requires a majority, it'll never happen. But then again, people tell me, well, Ron, the American Revolution was not a majority of the people that lived here at that time. It was a relatively small minority that stood up for the rights. And even among that minority, there were people that were playing both sides. Benjamin Franklin perhaps being one of them, and of course, Alexander Hamilton and others that were part of the founding of the United States, which was a conglomeration of independent states. There was no national government. There were many people that were opposed to the national government. But the criminals that want control of the entire world and of humanity are being exposed like never before, and they're fighting back by trying to censor those that are trying to get people to wake up. So I'm hoping and praying that somehow those of us that are trying to get others to wake up will be empowered and in some ways even enriched so that we can do more to aid the awakening of humanity, so that we can genuinely have peace on earth, so that we can genuinely have freedom of speech and genuinely have the freedom to worship or not worship as we choose. And hopefully we will all come to the place where we recognize and are able to discern the difference between lies and truth, which is a really hard thing to do. As I said in the blurb, it's not an easy question to answer. There are many questions that we cannot simply figure out until we go into our heart and let our heart and our head work together to bring forth that which is born from the beginning of creation, supposedly. I hope that's true. And I don't believe that Darwin's evolution theory is correct, although I do believe humanity is evolving. And I hope that, again, that is true, that we are evolving toward a real awakening that will change the way we experience life on planet Earth. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.